Welcome to the show. Here, I speak with experts and experts at life in heartfelt conversations designed to help us pause, choose intentionality over hustle, and discover joy, meaning, and connection in our everyday lives.
What is right versus what is important for me throughout our schooling, throughout our parenting, right? The belief that is ingrained in us is, if you try hard enough, if you work long enough, if you put in enough hard work, you will get the right answer to your problem. When you come out of school, you suddenly find that, was there is no exam paper, there is no ideal question bank, there is no ideal answer bank, right? There is just a vast expanse of choices, consequences. We have made feelings inferior. We think logic and thinking is superior, and feelings are just meant for irrational people and impulsive people, reactive people. So you have to abandon feelings and just go by rationality and logic. Our mind is addicted to control. It wants to predict, it wants to control, it wants to stay ahead of things.
Really happy to have you here, Vijay. Thanks so much for your time. I'd like to get started right away. If I look at your LinkedIn profile, it's pretty obvious that you have a passion for psychology and people. So how did you realize that this is your passion? How did you come about to get to this area in your life?
The interesting thing is, I realized it was my passion very early, but I took a lot of time to have the courage to manifest and express it and actually connect it to my real life. So, just to give you some background, uh, I was interested in psychology, I guess, even before I knew the word psychology. So, in I have always been a very voracious reader.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my second standard and all, I used to read everything that came my way. And after I exhausted it, I used to go to more avenues. So I would end up reading my mom's magazines, Woman's Era, and especially the Agni Aunt column there. And I even ended up reading books that she had on how to manage children. And
Mm-hmm.
then I would argue with her that इसमें लिखा है that you should not yell at children. So why do you yell at me? This and that. So I always think how she would have handled me. So that interest was there. But what happened absolutely is because my mind used to keep thinking, reflecting on the approaches, on the answers that I saw being given everywhere, right? In the Agni and column, in the newspaper columns. Somewhere there was this question, that is this all there is? Psychology does not seem to have the answers. And I had deeper questions, which only in the 11th standard, there was this book lying around at my aunt's place called Conversations with God.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very famous series of books by Neil Donald Walsh. When I picked up that book, that is when I realized that, oh my God, there is this huge field there called spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
which is exactly into the questions that I have.
Mm-hmm.
So that got me into spirituality a lot. And my approach has always been uh, functional. How can I apply what I know to make human lives easier?
Mm-hmm.
Or, like you said, right, more fulfilling. So
Mm-hmm.
that approach has always been common. So yeah, as early as I was a kid, I had discovered my passion for psychology as early as 11th standard, or early or late, I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
wish it was earlier, but 11th standard, I had discovered my passion for spirituality. And ever since then, it has been a huge part of my life. Except that in India, if you get good marks in exams, then your career options reduce to just two or three, right? So
That's true.
yeah, so then I ended up becoming an engineer in computer science, doing all the right things, going abroad, this and that. But yeah, this was always there in the back end. So then the question was only when it manifested in a more concrete form, more than a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that took as long as, I think, 2000. 16 or 17 when I took the call that I have to do something more serious, shift careers, search for my vocation or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. So yeah, the discovery, to answer your question, the discovery of my passion has happened very early. Even my passion for facilitation happened quite soon. I love to teach,
Mm-hmm.
but again, in India, the stereotype is a teacher will not earn enough.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, but yeah, anyways, I came a full circle. So right now, I do what I enjoy. I coach,
Mm-hmm.
I facilitate self awareness workshops. I love doing that, and I write about my thoughts mostly on
Right.
LinkedIn or on my
Right.
blog. So
Right.
yeah, but yeah, I think it took a long time to come a full circle. Yeah.
Right. Um, so you mentioned that it took you time to manifest it, and probably I'm getting a sense from what you're saying that it got to do potentially with maybe you did engineering and therefore almost your path was carved out. Was it that, or was it something else that prevented you from, I guess, manifesting it earlier?
Absolutely, you're right. And when you use the perfect phrase, path was carved out, right? But the question is, carved out by whom?
Yeah.
Right? I read this quote somewhere that if the path ahead of you is well paved, it means it has already been walked on by thousands of people.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So when we say carved out, yeah, it means why did I do engineering? Because that was supposed to be the thing which had scope,
Hmm.
right, in the market. Then in engineering, which branch? Computers, because that had scope.
Yeah.
Right. Once I get into engineering, what's the next goal? It's getting a placement.
Mm-hmm.
Which company? Preferably a good company, a famous company. Okay, once you get into that company, then what's the next goal? Then you have to struggle and somehow go to the US, right? So the all those things, the goals, whatever we think we want, 99% of it is actually borrowed from the outside world.
Yeah.
Just that we are not aware of it. But only when we get the things that we wanted do we realize that okay, maybe this is not what I really needed.
Hmm.
So going through that path, I think, is also important.
Hmm.
It would be premature for someone else to come and say, Vijay, you think going to the US is the best thing in life, but that's not it. That will sound preachy. We
Yeah.
have to walk that path to realize what comes at the end of it is not what we really wanted.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you can't avoid the path, but I think what makes a difference is, are you always listening to those negative discomforts and uh, emptiness, right? And using that as a signal to then find out what is it that you really want. Or I think the exact accurate phrase would be, what is it that you the universe might be wanting to do through you. So it's about that listening always, and then things start changing by themselves. I know it sounds very abstract, but yeah,
No, no.
that's the
I
way
mean,
it is. Yeah.
I can totally relate to it. So I am somebody who suffers from clinical depression, and I have gone through probably say 12 or 13 cycles till now. And every
Mhm.
time I go into one of my loops, I'm always thinking somehow of service, and how I might be of help to people. And it's not just about people who go through clinical depression. I think people who are going through life in general are struggling, right?
Mhm.
Because because life just is. So in some way, it's about those signals itself. So every single time it's come back to me in some. At one point, I was thinking because I read a book called Unplug, and this was about an American high flying corporate person deciding to move to starting a yoga practice. And then I was like, okay, maybe I I should do this. Obviously, I didn't go through it, but the themes were very similar. And that's how I think I have started on this path as well. So I completely agree that it's about being able to hear your voice. Having said that, there are obviously things like pragmatic issues that that you have to make money, right? So it's not uh, just passion. There's also this, and I was going to ask you a question about what's your view on, is it about doing what you love or loving what you do? Um, I think I kind of know where you lean toward, but I should shut up and let you talk about it.
I would be curious to know, and more than know, how you would express it. So yeah, where do you think I would lean towards?
Okay, this is. I think anyone would say that you cannot suddenly say that, I don't know, I want to be a mountaineer today when I'm 40 years old, for example, and say, let me quit my job. If I have kids, forget about them, and suddenly start become a mountaineer. um I guess there's a, and we're probably preempting a lot of conversation points that I was hoping we'll get to later. It's probably finding some sort of agency in your current context. So yes, you have to have a job, you have your responsibilities, but within that, um can you make some time? And in my head, you can always you can watch a little less Netflix.
Hmm.
Or when you're traveling
Correct.
to work, you can listen to something that is interesting to you. If it's about mountaineering, you can use that time to look up mountaineering. So my guess is that you would say how, once you've figured what your interest is, try and pivot a little at a time, so that the practical side of your life remains as unaffected as it can be, and you can start doing something a little bit at one time. And hopefully, if that passion is something that really moves you, then at some point you will be able to get to a stage where you can make that your full-time thing and leave the
Hmm.
other things behind. But yeah, please go ahead and tell me what you think.
Right. So if I understand uh, where you would also stand on this versus where you think I would also stand on this, is basically that uh, don't leap into the darkness, right? Keep something, but meanwhile keep experimenting.
Yeah,
And if the time is right, if the opportunity is right, and if you're lucky, maybe
yeah,
you will end up doing it full time.
yeah,
And if I remove the jargon of pragmatism and this and that, it all boils down to maybe you can do it full time and still earn a lot of money.
yeah, yeah.
Correct. So I think there are a lot of assumptions in that question that we ask ourselves.
Mm,
Right? Is it about following your passion, doing what you love, or loving what you're doing? If we really unpack that question, right? Number one assumption is it can be only one of the two.
mm, yeah.
Correct. Number two, when we ask, should we follow what we love doing, right?
Mm-hmm,
Should we follow our passion? Actually, the unconscious connotation there is not how can I follow my passion. Following your passion is easy. You can
mm-hmm,
do it every weekend, every day.
mm,
And if it is really your passion, like last night, I was up until 3 a.m. writing that article. Not because I was being paid for it, but because I
mm,
couldn't not write that article.
right,
So following your passion is the easiest thing in the world. But the connotation that the consumerist world has drilled into us is not how do we follow our passion. It is how do we monetize our passion.
right. Yeah.
Now, when you attach that condition to following your passion,
Mm,
I'm not saying that's good or bad,
mm,
but then you have imposed that contradiction on your passion,
yeah.
right? So now suddenly it changes to I would follow my passion only if I can make some money from it.
Right.
Right now, nobody stopped me, but
Yeah.
now I have put that condition on myself.
Yeah.
Now, if the probability of earning money seems good, I will follow my passion.
Hmm.
If it seems bad, I will not follow my passion.
Hmm.
But then I will keep saying following the passion is hard rather than saying that I want to follow my passion, but I think following money matters more to me,
Hmm.
which is the truth,
Hmm.
right? So I think once we admit these truths and these contradictions that we ourselves create,
Hmm.
then it becomes much easier
Yeah.
that, okay, do I want to give more importance to money at this stage, at this context of my life,
Yeah.
or do I want to give? It's easy. Maybe I will very easily conclude ki nahi yaar, I don't want to leave money. I will
Hmm.
just follow this as a hobby.
Hmm.
Then there will come a point where, for a totally different reason, you might feel that maybe I have made enough money, or maybe I'm okay if I make a little lesser money,
Hmm.
or I'm okay to make lesser money provided I get to take my passion to the next level,
Hmm.
whatever that is, like in your case, making a difference, or whatever that is, right? Maybe that is worth compromising or letting go of the money aspect. And then we
Hmm.
make a choice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We are still the
Yeah.
agency.
Yeah.
Correct. So it's more about choice making, but the way we frame our question itself somehow places that assumption कि भाई दोनों तो नहीं हो सकता अभी चुनो,
Hmm.
right? But all those might be false things. Somebody might be so passionate about something that it doesn't even occur to them about the money thing, right? And
Hmm.
then they just get into it. I'm not saying that's better.
Hmm.
I'm just saying that for you and me, that might be unimaginable.
Yeah.
But for them, that might be the most obvious thing to do. Ki why would I suffer unnecessarily
Yeah.
just because I get to make some money, right?
Yeah.
So, it's the way they look at it. But
Yeah.
that does not mean you and I should look at it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, these distortions in our thinking could be examined. I
Yeah.
hope that makes sense.
No, no, of course it does, but I guess the like you already mentioned that it's got to do with the context in someone's life as well, right? So if you
Hmm.
have a family to support, then you can't just ride away in the sunset saying it doesn't make
Hmm.
money, and I'm okay with that. So
You could, by the way, right? Like, forget you and me. If I ask a very, I don't know, controversial question, Gautam Buddha did walk away from
yeah,
his family.
yeah, yeah,
Correct?
yeah,
Now, at hindsight, we can say, yeah, yeah, but his walking away changed the world, and there was so much
yeah,
to for the world to gain.
yeah,
But when he was walking away, he did not know that that would happen.
correct,
Correct? So something in his heart pushed him and said, hey, I know that you love your family, but maybe there are some questions worth finding answers to without having the guarantee that he will or will not find the answers
yeah, yeah,
to those questions.
yeah. So there are always
Correct. So, yeah,
risks. Yeah,
some people can judge, some people might not. Some people will have hindsight opinions. But at that moment, it was a leap into uncertainty. And I
yeah,
think that that's what matters. Is what you are following important enough? Is
hmm.
the question. Not whatever you are doing, is it right or wrong?
Yeah, yeah. And I guess even if the situation is not as dire as leaving your family, I do think that even for people where you're not doing that, following your passion in you, there is a leap of uncertainty. Even if
Hmm.
you're not leaving your family, you don't know where it's going to take you, and if you're attached to um I don't know, a designation or something like that, then I guess it becomes equally difficult to say, can I leave this and do that? So, of course, there is a lot of
Correct.
uncertainty associated with following
Hmm.
whatever your calling might be. Um, Now, when we're talking of all of these sort of things, I also wanted to ask you, in your experience as a coach, in your life experience, have you realized there are specific two, three, four areas where you see people struggling more often than not?
Absolutely. See, the answer to this question is extremely easy. There are no two, three areas. There is only one area. People come and say, I'm feeling unhappy. Correct. And but the reasons for those unhappiness can be many.
Hmm.
Okay, but at the like somebody can say my job is not working out, my career is not working out, my marriage is not working out, my life is not working out. So the reasons can be many, but at the end of the day, you did something which you thought will give you happiness, but it did not. So things did not work out as you expected, and here you are, right? So the problem at the end of the day is just that. In our context, it might be that I did everything right, but I'm still not feeling fulfilled.
Hmm.
So fulfillment, happiness, overcoming the inner emptiness, that's the singular problem. The reasons are many, but what, if I may,
Hmm.
there are some common patterns that I observe
Hmm.
which give rise to that problem. Okay, and that may be useful if
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
shared it.
Sure. Yeah. So what are those?
Correct, correct. So mostly I see five or six top patterns, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 100% sure you and even me a lot of times and your listeners would relate to this. Correct. The number one problem, this sounds very silly, my problems versus others' problems. Okay. Most of the time, people are not solving their problem, they are solving other people's problems. Okay. So, for example, a leader. Okay. What are, can you come up with a wild guess? If you ask any business leader, हाँ कि आपका challenge क्या है?
Hmm.
What might be some of the things that he or she will mention?
I don't know. Maybe the team is not motivated enough.
Correct. Right. So my team is not motivated. My team does not take ownership.
Yeah.
Right. Very, very common question. That's
Hmm.
the start of 99% of projects
Hmm.
in leadership training.
Hmm.
है ना? But if you think about it, that is his team's problem. I'm assuming that the leader is a male in this
Mm-hmm.
context. So that is his team's problem. The question is not what is the team's problem. The question is how is that team's problem impacting you?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And believe me, it takes a lot of time to get to that point. So, for example, if I ask, you are that leader, and if I ask you, okay, I get it, your team does not take ownership, but that is their problem.
Hmm.
What is your problem?
Hmm.
Then you might say, well, arre, work doesn't get done, na, so how will my business run?
Hmm.
Okay, so then I might ask, okay, so is that what's happening?
Hmm.
Your work is not getting done, your business is failing.
Hmm.
Then you might say, no, 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 I will never let that happen. But the problem is, then I have to do everything,
Hmm.
right? And my team are just a bunch of order takers.
Hmm.
Okay, they don't have any perspective. They will not take ownership. They will
Hmm.
just say, I did what you said,
Hmm.
right? So then I will ask, okay, so even if your team does not take ownership, you are succeeding anyway.
Hmm.
Okay, then what is the problem?
Hmm.
So then maybe the leader will say, Arey yaar, I told you, right? I'm succeeding, but then I have to do everything.
Hmm.
And I feel stressed. I
Hmm.
feel frustrated. I also want to give time to my family.
Yeah.
And now we start to hit the actual
Hmm.
problem.
Hmm.
Okay, if I ask him, okay, so you feel stressed. So what would you want instead? You would want to spend time with your family,
Hmm.
perhaps.
Hmm.
Okay. So then do it. Nah? What is the problem?
Hmm.
No, Arey, if I do that, then my company will crash because
Hmm.
I have to do everything.
Hmm.
Okay, so now we are finally able to get to the location of the problem. It has got nothing to do with the outside
Hmm.
world, the team, right? On one hand, I as a leader want to be successful. And my strategy for being successful is to do everything myself.
Hmm.
But I also want to have rest. I also have want time for myself.
Hmm.
But the problem is this my strategy of doing everything myself gives me success, but it does not give me rest.
Right.
So then the conflict is between having success versus having rest.
Mm-hmm.
And then the question is there any strategy that can achieve both?
Hmm.
Correct now. But the problem is we express and frame the problem as an outside issue.
Hmm.
Okay. The team is not even in the room.
Hmm.
Okay. And I don't realize that I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me.
Hmm.
So getting to this internal issue that, yeah, the problem I want to solve is not ownership of my team. The problem I want to solve is how do I get breathing space
mm,
and still achieve the business goals that I want.
mm,
Right?
mm,
That's the real issue. And our conditioning, societal conditioning, especially for male leaders, they are supposed to be strong.
mm,
Anyway, CEOs are not supposed to be weak. They are always supposed to be in control.
mm,
Right? So that doesn't even let us be aware that, yeah, I am feeling burnt out.
mm, mm,
Correct. So getting to the problem, number one, is itself a challenge. We are too busy focused on others' problems versus how is it affecting me.
mm,
Now, once I frame that, okay, my problem is I need work life balance,
mhm,
I need some break,
mhm,
then comes the next confusion that many people uh, are suffering from. Okay. I call it wanting something versus knowing how it looks like. Okay. So, for example, if I say I want work life balance, the question is, how would I know that I have got it?
mm,
If I don't know that, then I'm just chasing a blind goal, right? I
mm,
can't even see that goal.
mm,
So, does that mean working 3 days in a week?
mm,
Does that mean taking a 6 month sabbatical every year?
mm,
Okay. Does that mean playing cricket on the weekends?
mm,
Does that mean just spending 1 hour reading story for my children?
mm,
What does it look like for you,
mm,
right? So,
mm,
in this, again, coming back to the CEO example, maybe he says that I should be able to take a 1 week vacation without worrying that my whole company will break down.
mm,
Now,
mm,
that makes the outcome very clear. A
mm,
lot of times we don't even know how that outcome is. I want to be very successful in life. I want to be disciplined in life.
mm,
I want to be healthy in life.
mm,
I want to be respected in life. Arey, but how will it look like? How would you
mm,
know that it's achieved?
mm.
Many people don't even know that. It's a very basic question, but it's an important question.
Yeah.
So that is number two. Okay, number three, and this is pretty tricky. Okay, this is the confusion between outcome and identity. What
Okay.
I want, okay,
Mhm,
yeah, I'll give you an example for that. So, what I want versus what it means about me. A lot of time, our identity itself is our biggest hurdle. Again, let's come back to the leadership example. Okay. He finally was able to articulate that I should be able to take a week's vacation without my company breaking down.
mhm,
Very good. Outcome is very clear. Okay. But it is possible that his identity, what it means about me, my narrative about myself, is now in a bind. Because if my company can do without me for an entire week, then what is my value? Okay. Am I needed? Right? Am I even important to this company? Now, if your identity is tied with doing everything yourself, in other words, you are not doing everything yourself because you need to. You are doing everything yourself because that is how you feel important and valued.
mhm,
Okay, then even if you come up with these fancy outcomes, you will not be able to make any progress. But again, discovering that this is where the speed breaker is very important. And if this is indeed the speed breaker, then our reflection, our exploration will take a different direction.
mm,
But what I wanted to bring to your notice is a lot of times this outcome versus identity is a very unconscious and very strong block. Right? I might say that I'm overworked because my boss is insensitive, but I can take leave. But no, then I'm afraid if I apply for leave, will my boss think I'm lazy?
mm.
Okay, now my identity is coming into the problem.
Yeah.
I might say, yeah, I do everything at home. My spouse never helps. Okay, but is it possible that you haven't asked?
Mm,
Because if you ask, then it means that you are not as strong
mm.
or as selfless, or you do not attach enough importance to the housework.
Yeah.
Right? There is this expectation about yourself that you have to do everything
Yeah.
and do it right. So then you are blocked. I cannot do what I love because I have to earn for my family. Okay, but have they asked for it? correct? Maybe you are afraid of failure,
Mm.
right? Maybe even if you do something that you love, you might not beg on the streets, but you might earn a little lesser.
Yeah.
For all you know, they would want you to do that because they can't suffer you right now when you are frustrated on your job. Correct. So, but I never asked them. The real reason is I am afraid that I might be a failure. So I want to stay in my comfort zone. But
Mm.
the reason that I have given myself is I'm doing it for my family.
Yeah.
So a lot of this identity and outcome is intertwined. And that is number three, right? Number four, this is very common for many problems, concluding versus deciding, that confusion. So in our entire life, throughout our schooling, throughout our parenting, right? The belief that is ingrained in us is if you try hard enough, if you work long enough, if you put in enough hard work, you will get the right answer to your problem. Okay, you will score 100 marks. Okay, which means there is only one right answer
Mm.
to the problem. Okay, but the thing is, and this, what is the definition of this? You will score 100%, which means everyone will approve. Nobody can say that getting 100 marks out of 100 is wrong,
Mm.
right? So now you have everybody's approval. But when you come out of school, you suddenly find that was there is no exam paper, there is no ideal question bank, there is no ideal answer bank, right? There is just a vast expanse of choices, consequences, right? There is no one solution. There are only trade-offs. If you do this, you will lose that. If you do that, you will lose this.
Yeah.
And now you have to make a choice, and you have to say that, boss, whatever the consequences are, I am ready to face it.
Mm-hmm.
So should I take up an unconventional career? Yeah, you can, but there will be consequences, right? Should I leave a toxic job? Because if I continue, I will suffer. If I leave, I might be kicked out of my house because I can't pay the EMI.
Mm.
Correct? Or because we think in extremes, binary thinking, we say, oh, so I can't be kicked out of my house, so I will continue to suffer.
Mm.
But no, maybe you can leave a little later, find another job. Maybe my savings will reduce,
Mm.
but I can still not suffer so much,
Mm.
right? So there are many other choices possible, but our assumption that there has to be one ideal answer which gives me everything that I want might keep me stuck,
Mm. Yeah.
right? So then the question is, I cannot conclude to a geometry के problem जैसा कि step one, step two, step three, hence proved. That does not work in life,
Yeah.
right? I have to just say I will choose path A because that is what matters for me, and it
Mm.
might not matter for Ritu, and it
Mm.
might not matter for Vijayraj,
Mm.
provided I am ready to face the consequences,
Yeah.
right? That is A. And the last one is the very interesting one: thinking versus feeling. A lot of time, our only tool in our toolkit is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we think thoughts or thinking, analyzing is the answer to all problems. If you think enough, clearly enough, without bias or whatever, right? We can say, then it is. Now, a lot of times we do that and we don't get answers. All we get is anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
correct? And if there is enough anxiety and if your mind just shuts down, I might get into a depressive phase,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or I might get into an over anxious phase. So we are getting all the signals, and like the Einstein quote, right? The sign of insanity is doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
So I am saying, Arey yaar, I'm thinking and I'm feeling anxious, and the answer to relieve that anxiety is to think even more. Okay, and then complain that I'm anxious. Correct. So I think that is because we have somehow we have made feelings inferior. We think logic and thinking is superior, and feelings are just meant for irrational people and impulsive people, reactive people. So you have to abandon feelings and just go by rationality and logic, right? But the thing is, if you think about the earlier point we were talking about, what is right versus what is important for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? What is right? Our thought process, analysis can help me get there. How do I get to where I want? But where do I want to go? Why do I want to go? Correct? That is more about, or rather less about what is right, what should I do, what is the right thing to do, and more about what is important for me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, right
Correct?
for
And
who
what is
is
important
the
for me.
question.
Right for who is the question,
Yeah.
right? And right itself implies कौन बोलेगा right.
Hmm.
So obviously majority मतलब society,
Correct.
correct? So then the assumption underlying what is right is what is the majority take on this.
Mm-hmm.
But what if the majority take on it doesn't matter to me?
Yeah.
Right? What is important for me? Now this thought cannot answer. That feelings, your emotions, your body, your gut can answer. To be able to listen to what your body, what your gut, what your intuition is telling you, thinking might be the last thing that you want to do.
Mm.
Maybe the answer is to reduce thinking.
Mm.
Maybe the answer is to have patience. Maybe the answer is to accept the anxiety as it is and sit with that anxiety. Maybe it is to get comfortable with the state of, I don't have a clue. I am utterly confused. And that's
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't like it, but that is how things are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I try to put my hand in the jar and try to settle the dirt, the more dirty I will make the water, right? So maybe I just need to let that jar of water stand. Things will settle by themselves, and some inner voice will arise, which I will finally be able to hear, because for once I am not trying to be in control. Our mind is addicted to control. It wants to predict, it wants to control, it wants to stay ahead of things, right? But if we talk about feelings, then we have to let them surface, correct? And then we are able to listen, we are able to sense what really matters to us. And when we know what matters to us, then our compass gets set. Once our compass gets set and we are mentally ready कि यार इसके लिए जो भी है, I will face the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Then your mind, your thinking mind, is a very, very faithful servant and very useful servant. But if it becomes the master, then we are gone. So these five things, right? If I were to just recap them, number one, we don't even know that we are too busy trying to solve other people's problems rather than being clear about what my problem is.
Mm-hmm.
Then even if I want something, I don't know how it looks like. So I'm just busy chasing vague things in life.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm clear about what outcome I exactly want, my own identity might oppose it. And that might be the real reason I keep going around in circles.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I want seems to threaten the identity that I have built over so many years. Number four, the confusion between conclusion versus decisions. Because school has taught us that compliance and giving the right answer is the way to go, we feel totally lost when there is no right answer. अब कौन बताएगा?
Mm.
Right. So then it becomes essential to stop chasing what is right and start answering what is important, for which feeling might be more important than thinking. But we never employ feeling, we in fact put it down. So then we keep uh, getting addicted to thinking and then suffer the consequences of it: overthinking, overanalysis, anxiety. So, yeah, I think these are the five ways in which we create our suffering.
Another angle I think that we sort of spoke about in all of the points that you were talking about, the CEO saying, okay, my team's not taking ownership, or the fact that if I don't work hard enough, what is my real identity and things like that. How imp- and there are situations, right? So if you think about, there's a mom who has two kids. She has a job. She has elderly in-laws to take off, her own parents, etc., etc. So it's a great, crazy busy day, and you have to manage so many things. How does agency feature in a situation like that? Because again, because we reference Buddha, I think we can definitely go back and I'm not forgetting. I'm now forgetting the exact quote, but he does talk about life being hard in some ways. Like there's dissatisfaction. There are things that are constantly going on. So no one is saying that life circumstances are a bed of roses. It's not. Everybody has something or the other sort of going on. Um, but to me, a lot of it seems to be about pivoting your mind to sort of look, like you said, trade-offs. Like you're looking at the situation, this is what it is. What is the decision I'm going to take? Am I comfortable with it? And once I've made the decision, yes, there are trade-offs, but I'm comfortable with it. So you do have some agency. So I do feel like there is a huge role of agency in whatever situation you might be there in life. And I think everybody. I'm not some uh, person who sort of solved for this or any other thing. But um, how do you think? And if somebody doesn't have a life coach, how do you think somebody might come to this idea of agency? That yes, my life is very busy. Like I have practical things which are sort of tying me down, but yet I have agency. Yet I have some ways to feel good about the way my life is. How do you think one might be able to do that?
I think, can we take a few minutes to examine this?
Yeah,
Okay, because I think this is an extremely important question,
yeah,
this sense of agency,
yeah.
right? And it is also heavily misunderstood, according to me. Okay. See, let's borrow that example of the busy mother slash wife slash boss slash team member, right? Many roles, little time. Okay, everything is important. So what do I do? When we say uh, that even if you are in the most difficult of times, you still have agency. Okay, the common interpretation of that is that you can still change things for the better. They can be external or they can be internal. Internal meaning how I'm feeling about it
Mm-hmm.
or how I'm reacting to it. External would be what all the books and techniques will sell you, right? That there are ways and techniques to get everything, right? And be the super woman or everything like that. Correct. So, but according to me, that is not what I mean by agency. See, this common meaning of agency is not agency, it is control. Again, if you think enough, if you are good enough, if you learn enough, if you adapt enough, then you will be able to control your life. Okay. But agency to me just means I am capable of acting on my own volition. I get to choose A or B or neither
Mm.
or C and leave A and B
Yeah.
or reduce B and more do more A. I have that capability. Okay, but the common connotation, which is more about control, which is more about power, is I have the capability to act out of my own volition so that I will get the things that I want. Okay, now I have linked both. Now, I and you, and if somebody is telling you they are fooling you, okay, I would rather say that no, there are too many things in life that are not in our control.
Yeah.
I am saying agency matters only if it can help me get what I want. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. Now, because I won't get what I want, I will get into a victim stance. Okay, I cannot get what I want because of the system, because of systems, because of my wife, because of my husband, because of my in-laws, this or that. Correct? And hence there is nothing that I can do about it. And now if somebody comes and says you have agency, then you will feel incensed. Okay, are you challenging my truth? Are you saying that I want to suffer,
Mm.
right? And I'm doing this to myself? No, it is not about that. It is that linking of choice making to outcome. Correct. But if I and what it this view of looking at ourselves, see, if I say I do not have the capability to control outcomes. That is a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But if I say वो नहीं हो रहा है, इसीलिए if I start saying I don't have the capability to act on my own volition, now I am killing my humanity itself.
Yeah.
Now I am an inanimate object. I am a twig in a river. Wherever that river will go, I will have to flow.
Mm.
I am a victim.
Mm.
Okay. Not someone who can affect outcomes. I can't do that. But not even able to have a choice and make a choice. You mentioned one phrase earlier, make a choice so that we feel better. Maybe not. Okay. There is a huge difference if you listen to this sentence. Okay. I have to do a meaningless job versus depending on the circumstances where I am today, I choose to do this meaningless job.
Yeah.
Can you sense the difference in it?
Yeah.
Right? Let's use your example of the busy woman. Okay. I am saddled with 10 priorities right now, which are weighing me down. Okay. There are books and courses that promise me that I can achieve all those 10 things if I, whatever, plan enough, structure enough, use the right techniques.
Mm-hmm.
However, I choose to be in this dead end job because it pays my children's school fees. Okay. I don't have to be in it. I choose to. But why? Not because I love the job, not because I love my boss, right? Because it pays the fees for my kids. Which means tomorrow, if an opportunity arises which allows you to change your job and still pay the fees,
Mm-hmm.
or allows you to earn enough to go a little easy on your job and take a sabbatical, at least you will be open to it. But the moment I say that I can't do anything, this is my life,
Yeah.
my life is dictated by my boss, my mother in law, this and that, then there's a full stop, right? So that is what I mean by agency. It is not about controlling the outcomes.
Yeah.
It is just about knowing that even if I can't control or can control the outcomes, I always have the power to make a choice. That's it, right? And that choice can be something that I don't like that much. It's okay, but I am making that choice.
Yeah.
Right, I am not an inanimate object. I am a human being who still has agency. So that is the meaning of agency. When we talk about it, it is supposed to recognize, it is not positive thinking to convince yourself. It is actually a fact that we are not a victim. We can't control the outcomes, but we are never a victim. Does
Yeah.
this make sense? Do
Yeah,
you?
yeah, absolutely. But I
I
think it's
know.
it's quite a complicated idea for people to come to terms to if you haven't spent enough time thinking about it, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So in your practice, do you see that this is the one point that people sort of stumble on and take a lot of time to get to? That whatever your circumstances are, you are making a trade-off, and it is indeed you who's making the trade-off. It might not be a trade-off that you like at that point, but it's still you.
Yeah, see, I might not, so when we talk, we are abstracting millions of experiences
Yeah.
and problems to this one factor, which we call sense of agency,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when I talk to my coaches, I might not really even use the word agency,
Hmm.
right? I might just help them explore and find out for themselves that what they think the outside world is doing to them, which they don't like and which even I don't like,
Hmm.
is actually a function of a choice that they have made, but they have not realized that they have made.
Hmm.
Right? My boss is toxic. Okay, so I can leave, but I choose not to leave. I'm not saying you should leave. Who am I to tell you you should leave? But do you know that you are choosing not to leave
Yeah.
because whatever, paying the EMI is more important than your own suffering?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct.
Absolutely.
So then why blame your children? Why blame your spouse? Correct. So when they slowly discover that and they are like, okay, Initially I had made that choice, but I didn't know about it. Now that I know about this choice, it's not that I'm going to change that choice, but now I know that I have the power to change the choice whenever I choose to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So I'll keep looking for the right timing. Now there is a sense of hope.
Yeah.
Okay, for the first time, they feel that they are not the twig,
Yeah.
but they are the boat,
Yeah.
and they have a sail.
Yeah.
That sail will not work in all storms, but it will help them adapt. Correct. Now that is very relieving,
Mm-hmm.
and that gives you a lot of freedom, right, and a sense of agency in your life. Slowly, when if we have enough conversations, if they read enough things, I would love to be a victim when I when things are too tough for me.
Yeah.
I would not want to say that I am making the
Choices.
choices that I don't want. I would rather say you are making me choose these things.
Yeah.
So it makes me free of responsibility. So
Right.
yeah, I understand.
So this actually triggered another thought in my head. This thing about people will kill me if I tell them this. I've also often found myself in a situation, and it's true for me as well, that if I'm struggling with something and I'm discussing it with a loved one, um, a loved one might want to give me advice, and it might be good advice as well, advice that actually works. If I took it, it would be useful. But because I'm struggling so much, at that point, I'm completely shut down, and I might say things like, I don't want advice. I just want to rant. And this has happened to me the other way
Hmm.
around. So when I am seeing somebody struggle, because you are not the one who's struggling, you probably are a little more objective. And of course, we feel like we have all the answers. We are giving the answers. But that's just not registering. So in situations like this, I guess my question is, in situations like this, whether it is me being on the receiving side or me on the giving side, when you're seeing somebody, a loved one struggle, and you think you have the answers, how do you help them? Because they're completely shut.
Hmm.
Like, are you supposed to just watch them like suffer for a really long time and hope that they will eventually come to this conclusion? Because you also mentioned about having to go through that experience yourself, right? So, like you went to
Yes.
the US and you realized that is not for you, and that no, if somebody would have told you, would have said what nonsense. So, yeah, I guess that's my question.
Again, you ask very good questions, but the thing is, we'll need a few minutes
Sure, that's
to.
fine. I'm okay if you're okay.
Right. So when we ask, how do we help a loved one? My first question is, how do we define helping? Is it giving them what they need, or is it giving them what you need? Okay. When I say you need, it means what you would have needed in that situation.
Mm,
Okay. Which is essentially your perspective.
yeah.
Correct. If I am acting a certain way and I have to act in a different way, genuinely, okay, out of my own volition, that can be a function of only one thing. I have to see the situation differently. Okay. For example, when let us imagine that you are ranting about your workplace challenge, okay, and your spouse is giving you logical solutions when you just wanted to rant. Okay, now he's saying कि अरे you are not objective, you don't have enough maturity and blah blah blah. Okay, however, let us say he is facing some emotional challenge. Okay, maybe his uh, best friend fleeced him of money or whatever. Okay, basically his uncomfortable areas, okay, and weak muscles are being forced to exercise. Suddenly, for you, maybe that's easy, okay, but for him, it's tough. So now that's not because you are superior or he or she is superior. It is just that that particular situation, the way you look at it, is very different from how I look at it. So
Mm-hmm,
something that is very stressful for you might not be stressful for me,
mm-hmm,
but it can be vice versa as well. Okay. So then the question becomes, how do we help someone see the situation differently?
Mm.
Okay. Going back to my earlier statement, are we trying to give them what they need, or are we trying to give them what we would have needed
Mm-hmm.
in that situation?
Yeah.
Okay. The other problem is, do even they know what they need? A lot of times we don't know what we need.
Mm.
Okay. I might come, or somebody might come at home and start screaming, here, when I get home after that whole local train car travel and being there in that crushed crowd, can't I just have a quiet 10 minutes without that TV and without you guys screaming and without you guys fighting, right? So it seems as if it is about switching off the TV. It seems as if it's about getting good food to eat. But actually the need is for maybe peace,
Mm.
maybe relaxation, right? But I myself don't know that. Okay, why don't I know that? Because I have always been conditioned to be strong. Men are not supposed to feel stressed out.
Mm.
Okay, this is my duty. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to complain about it. So rather than complaining about it, I will complain about you.
Mm.
Okay, you are not being caring enough. They are not being caring enough. My kids don't understand me. My parents never understood me. So I project, right? So half of the time, people themselves don't know what they need. So
Mm.
again, coming back, if people have to make different choices, they have to see the situation differently. But how will you help someone see differently? Because your actions are a function of how you see the situation,
Mm-hmm.
correct? Which means then the first step becomes, can I get to where they are
Mm.
and see the situation how they are seeing it?
Mm.
That will be the first step to even try and help.
Yeah.
I don't have to agree the way they are looking at it. But can I? People use the word empathy,
Mm.
but I'm not talking about just empathy. Empathy to me is feeling how they are feeling.
Mm.
But no, I am saying ki beyond that, seeing how they are seeing the
Mm.
situation.
Mm.
Correct?
Mm.
Uh, in a village, how people treat women might be disgusting for you. Okay, but can you see how they are seeing the situation?
Yeah.
In their eyes, they are not bad people.
Yeah.
Okay, not their reasons, but how they see the situation, right? So a lot of time, now again coming back to your question, how do we help people? Step number one, can we try and see how they are seeing the situation? If we cannot, then can we tell ourselves that we are not fit as of now
Mm.
to help them in any way?
Mm.
So the least we can do
Yes.
is be with them
Mm.
through their discomfort. Okay, so let's make it very real. Let's take that woman's example only. Okay, so let us say she is burdened, and she doesn't know exactly what is going and what does she really want in life, what her priorities need to be, and let us say she takes it out on the husband.
Mm.
Okay, and like you said, the gut reaction might be to give advice.
Mm.
That advice is coming from how the husband would see such situations
Mm-hmm.
and how easy it is for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think this situation is easy to handle, but she thinks it's not,
Mm.
which means that there is a way that she is looking at that situation which actually makes it seem so stressful,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
How is she looking at this situation? Then automatically the knee jerk reaction to give advice will go away and it will be replaced by curiosity.
Yeah.
Ki, "Arey yaar, uh, what about this? Like, are you burdened about this, X, Y, Z, and this and that?" Now, the woman is getting to vent,
Mm.
but she is also getting a space from another human being to be with that venting. This is very different, right? One is venting just to channel that energy,
Mm.
right? One, the other is making space for that mess, right? It's okay to be in this state without trying to solve or change it,
Yeah.
right? In fact, in coaching, holding space is what we do most of the time. right? Now she is in a way, she is in a state to detach and look at what's happening.
Mm.
This guy doesn't have a clue,
Yeah.
but he is helping her to have a look at her own experience. And maybe for the first time, she starts saying, yeah, there are these four competing wants that I have. I feel like I want them all, but I'm not able to do it. I don't know what to go for.
Mm.
The society tells me that I'm just not trying hard enough, which makes me feel even more bad about
Mm.
myself.
Mm.
I don't know what to do.
Mm.
Okay. And then maybe the discussion goes somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to absolutely come to a conclusion. This was just an example.
Yeah.
But I hope that you see that our definition of helping people itself is different.
Yeah.
Correct? It is not our responsibility to change someone's internal feeling, because their internal feeling depends on how they are looking at that situation.
Mm.
And there is no way I can get into your eyes and make you see a situation differently.
Yeah.
All that I can try to do is ask you, talk with you, hold space for you, to help you see how you are seeing,
Mm.
to help you see how you are seeing the situation.
Yeah.
And when you are able to bring in that distance between your seeing and the situation, you will discover your answers. And that's it. On from the outside, it looks silly. Oh, so I just had to sit and hold space. Yeah, but it's
It's
the hardest thing to do.
extremely difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult,
How
right?
often are
Because
you able to do it with your spouse?
very less, it's easier when, again, like I said, right, the situations which are easy for me, then just this knowledge that if I try to impose that knowledge on her, it will become more complicated. It helps. Okay, but I'll tell you when it does not help and when it is hard for me to do that. Number one, obviously, when she is talking about situations that are hard for me as well,
Mm.
right? So then my mind, it has got nothing to do with her. My mind will get into control state
Mm.
because I am feeling uncertain, right?
Mm.
So I want control.
Mm.
What's my go-to strategy for control? Thinking, logic, solutioning, right? Now I will try to impose that on her. It's got nothing to do with her. It's got everything to do with me.
Yeah.
Number one. So that's when I will be reactive. Now, even if I know all this and I'm saying all this on the podcast, all that will evaporate in that moment. Correct. The second is when she's sharing something which is extremely hard for her, but it's not hard for me. But because I am aware of how this mechanism works, I am able to resist the temptation to give advice and do what's necessary earlier. And it makes it a little easy. However, if she is suffering too much due to that situation, then again, it has got nothing to do with her and it has got everything to do with me. Okay, in fact, the fact that she is suffering so much should make me give her even more space and create more room and give lesser advice. But because being couples and being human couples, not divine couples, because I identify with her and her suffering is my suffering as well. So when I see her suffering too much,
You
I
observe it.
might end up doing the exact opposite, right? Because I want to now save her,
Yeah.
right? So it's not that the situation, her situation is hard for me, her suffering is hard for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I will try my best to, oh my God, how do I control the situation?
Yeah.
But again, in that case, I can always say, Vijay, take a pause. Your aim is to help her. And by doing this, you might be doing the exact opposite.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's exactly right. So when I'm talking to my spouse or another loved one, it's exactly that, that it's hard for me to see them suffer, and therefore I want to reduce the
Hmm.
suffering, and therefore I'm solutioning. And it doesn't help at all. It goes in the opposite direction. So this
We
is like
also challenge their sense of agency, na yaar.
mm,
So, especially with teenagers and all, if you get into advice, right, it's a fact that anyways we can't control our outcomes, but now we are forcing them to make different choices, which which challenges their whole notion of they being an independent human being,
yeah,
right? Capable. We are saying ki boss, you are just a twig. I will make you float and take you where I think you need to go.
yeah,
So forget the problem. This is a much bigger insult.
yeah,
That is why humans react so viscerally and so defensively to advice.
Yeah.
which doesn't resonate with them, because now it has got nothing to do with the problem. Now they feel insulted as a human being,
Yeah.
right? So that's I think where that difficulty comes from.
I guess just to end this extremely enriching conversation, I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Um, I guess in your experience, have you come to maybe two, three themes that help people lead a fulfilling life?
Two, three things. Number one, being open to the possibility that it is possible to have a fulfilling life, right? If I have already assumed कि boss real world is like this only, this is all just for books, ऐसा होता नहीं है, then okay, fine enough. So but this demands that you are open to the possibility of being wrong. Now that's a very very hard thing. Okay, I would rather be unhappy than wrong, right? uh, i I would rather suffer a lot as long as I can prove that it's somebody else's fault. So I'm okay to suffer, बट ये मेरा फॉल्ट नहीं है, ये मेरे इन लॉस का फॉल्ट है, ये सोसाइटी का फॉल्ट है, बॉस का फॉल्ट है, बट आई एम ओके टू सफर. So number one, being open to the possibility that I might be wrong about the sad things in life, not happy things, sad things. मेरे को लगता था कि it is impossible to live a fulfilling life, but maybe it is possible. Number one. Number two, being open to hearing what's happening inside. So let us say if I ask you, okay, that you have this rose plant that is in your house, and you it is withering, and you have no clue about gardening, and so what would you do first to find out कि अच्छा अच्छा, how do I nurture it and make it up, what do I give it, which ingredient, which nutrient, whatever,
If
what
I'm
would you do?
clear that I don't know the solution, I'd ask for help from someone who I thought would might have a solution, which in this case would be a gardener.
That is number one. But what's the most common immediate thing that you will do? You know, you have a rose plant and you want to find out कि भैया what kind of nutrients does a rose plant need, how much sunlight, how much water.
I don't know, Google.
Google, right? So you will
Yeah,
Google.
yeah.
Correct. Another example, let us say you are trying to launch a gifting company in another country, okay, in whatever, in South Africa. Okay, Valentine's Day is approaching. Okay, so you want to find out what in their culture, कौन सा gifts are usually liked
Mm,
by husbands
mm,
and by wives
mm,
in general.
mm.
So what would you do? You are in India. You are in India. What will you do? First thing that you will do,
Google only.
right? And you will get some studies perhaps.
Ah,
79.8% of husbands in South Africa like gifts that are around food.
mm,
Okay. And then you will do that.
mm.
What if it is about India, Indian husbands?
I mean, scalable is still Google, but I'd probably ask my friends.
Google,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What if it is about your husband?
Then I'm hoping I'll know what the answer is.
You are hoping
Yeah,
that you will know,
yeah,
but it seems obvious that you will not Google,
yeah,
right? You will
yeah,
not Google what do Indian husbands
yeah,
like, right? And even if the research study says 99.99% of uh, husbands like a watch as Valentine's Day gift, and you gift that watch to your husband, and if he hates it, you are not going to blame the study,
yeah,
correct? Because you are supposed to know firsthand
yeah,
what makes or does not make him happy, sad, whatever,
yeah.
correct? Now comes the question, Eve, what if the question is about what makes you happy, correct?
Yeah, you can't
But
Google.
What we usually do is I will go to TEDx talks. Okay, what is the secret of happiness? Okay, what were the five regrets that dying people had? Oh, it was about relationships. My God, this was so not obvious. I thought it would be money, right? But it is relationships, correct? And a Harvard research has to tell me that employees value autonomy, right? To know that, do my employees prefer work from home or not work from home? I will go and refer a Harvard research. Okay, fine, fine. Refer a Harvard research, but I have never talked to my employees.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting at to answer your question on point number two, the habit of listening to ourselves.
Yeah.
Because what we think are our thoughts are all society's thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
beliefs around what I think should make me happy. Should.
Yeah.
According to whom? According to society studies. And if I'm a little more intelligent, then according to psychology. Right? If I'm more deeper, then according to spirituality.
Yeah.
Right? But first hand, मेरे को क्या चाहिए? First hand, how do I feel? How do I work?
Yeah.
That first hand observation is something that we are not used to.
Yeah.
Right? And cultivating that habit, knowing what the signals are, because वहां से language नहीं आएगा,
Hmm.
वहां से book नहीं आएगा, TEDx talk नहीं आएगा. So then how do you listen to yourself?
Yeah.
So number one, the possibility, or the open to the possibility of being wrong about the sad parts in life. And the benefit is you get to be happier. And the second is and the second is, where do you listen for the signal? So being able to listen internally
Yeah.
and being open to the possibility that what you might listen internally might be contradictory to what you have listened from the outside.
Yeah.
And then using your power of choice. So I think these two things can go a long way, and then it will inevitably bring you to the path of self awareness work. But that's a side effect.
No, this is really good, Vijay, and I feel like I have several more questions. Maybe we'll do a round two as well. But
Absolutely.
thanks so much. I really had a great time. Thanks so much for tuning in. I look forward to your comments and feedback. Before you go, can I ask for a favor? If you like the show, would you consider subscribing? It's an easy way to support us, and we promise to keep doing what we're doing and try and do even better. Thank you.